Hello and welcome to the Reflux Revolution Podcast. My name is Molly Pelletier, registered dietitian and leader in acid reflux, GERD and LPR, and I've been where you are. After years of struggling with reflux symptoms and feeling overwhelmed by conflicting advice, I made it my mission to help you find real, lasting relief. In this podcast, we're cutting through the noise, providing practical, evidence-based strategies, giving you the tools to understand and manage your reflux with confidence. Before we dive in, I want to share a quick disclaimer. The information shared in the Reflux Revolution podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition, and it should not replace personalized medical advice from your physician or individualized medical nutrition therapy from a registered dietitian. Always consult with your healthcare team before making any changes to your health routine. This podcast offers a holistic perspective to support your healing, well-being, but your body is unique and your care should be too. Let's dive in. Today, in this episode, I'm going to be sharing the most important thing that I did to heal my acid reflux and GERD, and what was the most important step towards me actually finding relief, shifting from constantly struggling, feeling lost, not making progress, and then actually continuing to find relief and make progress. It actually had nothing to do with food. And I say that because when I was really stuck in my GERD, when I was really struggling with reflux and feeling like there was nothing I could do to help my symptoms, I was so hyper-focused on food. I literally thought that food was the root cause of my issues. I would have symptoms after eating a certain food, and then I would cut that food, or I would hear on a podcast that dairy was inflammatory or gluten was causing leaky gut, and I would remove these foods as well. And so I was just convinced that the solution was going to be either in my diet or some form of restriction. So I found that I was constantly hyper-focused on food, and I had a ton of anxiety around food. This almost hypervigilance around food, it created a certain sense of disease all the time, or not disease, but dis-ease with food, which I feel resulted in a ton of food anxiety. And then my list of safe foods was getting smaller and smaller every day. I was eating about just 4 to 5 foods every single day. And this really harmed my gut microbiome. My gut microbiome diversity for sure went down, and I wasn't getting the fiber my body needed. I wasn't getting the nutrients, the calories that my body needed. So this turned into somewhat of a disordered eating pattern that harmed my body, made my reflux worse, and then also gave me a ton of anxiety around food. And I was really, really stuck here. And also, this anxiety, this underfueling, I think it impacted my mental health in a way that I just couldn't see a way out. I didn't see a future where I was going to feel better. And that thought is extremely dysregulating to your nervous system. So if you feel that you will never get better, and you doubt that you're going to make progress, and you visualize a future where you are not feeling well, that's super dysregulating, and I think it's the number one thing that impedes people's progress when it comes to overcoming severe GERD, severe acid reflux, is actually their mindset. And so the number one thing that I did to change was actually believing I could get better. The first step that I had to make to actually make progress was to believe it was possible for me to feel better, and believe that there was a future where I would feel well, where I would feel healthy, and I would be able to engage in the things that I love and travel and get back to fitness, all of these things. So it really did take a lot of strategies, which I'm going to talk about in today's episode. It wasn't just an overnight thing where I was able to do this. It was really a combination of daily habits and then support that I also got in creating a plan for myself. So I'd say one thing that I did do is take a look at my daily habits. And at the time I was really suffering with GERD and acid reflux, I would wake up and immediately start scrolling on my phone. And because I had recently searched acid reflux, all of my feed was gut health and acid reflux and all of this information, which a lot of it is pseudoscience. I'm going to tell you right now that most of what you see on social media is pseudoscience. It is misinformation. And you have to be so careful about what you're consuming on social media when you have acid reflux and digestive issues, because it can be so scary. I was actually just on social media the other day, and I was really shocked by how much negative talk there is about food, about seed oils are toxic and dairy should be avoided by everyone with IBS, like these things that are actually not true. If you ever hear anyone using the vocabulary words toxic or inflammatory around food, go and check. Are they a dietitian? Are they a doctor? They're most likely not a dietitian, because dietitians, we know, because we go to school for 6 years to study nutrition, we know that, a cupcake could be seen as inflammatory for someone with metabolic syndrome, with diabetes. But a cupcake, could be also a good thing for someone who needs to gain weight, who needs to heal their relationship with food. So it's just not so black and white. And I think that's one of the things that really sucked me into health anxiety when I had GERD, was just seeing all this misinformation. So I really had to restructure my day and be like, okay, I'm going to set boundaries with that, even though it feels like that's helping me to get more information, to Google my symptoms, to absorb new nutrition content. Like, I thought that might help me, but it really was bringing me deeper and deeper into confusion and deeper into health anxiety. So I started to reframe my morning routine. I had to start with meditation, positive visualization, truly visualizing myself healthy and well. And I felt crazy doing this. I felt like this was so wild, but I was desperate at this point. And I had actually stumbled upon Joe Dispenza's work. Joe Dispenza is an amazing speaker, and he talks a lot about visualization and how that can really help your nervous system heal, and it can help your body heal. And I was like, you know what the heck? I'm going to give it a go. And I started to do some of his meditations. I started to do my own just meditations, and I was a yoga instructor. So I sort of had this background. I knew how to meditate. I knew how to do yoga. So I went back to these practices that had once really helped me heal from other issues that were going on in my life. And I got back into it and just really started to start my day that way, with positive visualizations, positive self-talk throughout the day. When I would have a thought, an intrusive thought that came in about, okay, I'm always going to be sick, I'm never going to get better, or I can't do this, or I'm, not doing anything right, or I'm afraid of, future outcomes with my health, future impacts of the medications that I'm on, things like that. I would just imagine I could swipe it away, delete, and move on, and replace it with a thought of, I know I'm healing. I know I'm getting better. I'm doing everything that I can to help myself heal, and I know there's going to be ups and downs in this journey, and that's okay. And so I had to really, really rewire my thoughts there, rewire my morning routine and my evening routine. Staying up late and scrolling and being exposed to all of this crazy misinformation on social media was not serving me. So I started to read. I started to learn more about the nervous system and the mind-gut connection, and just, trauma, how trauma can be stored in the body and it can show up in different ways. So I got really into the mind-gut connection, which is really the foundation of FLORA, my app FLORA. This is why I started FLORA, that has reflux adapted yoga. It has meditations. It has reflux visualization meditations, healing visualizations, and it's also soon is going to have reflux-directed hypnotherapy, which I think is super valuable. I've seen work so well for a lot of our clients, so super excited that that will be on the FLORA app soon. But the tools that are now on the FLORA app that our clients are now using in FLORA Nutrition were really born out of my own struggles, out of my own experience of okay, it's not working to just stay on the acid watcher diet forever and follow Dr. Jamie Kaufman's protocol. I think they work. I'm not bashing them. I actually think they do. I think they're awesome people. I admire them so much. But what was missing for me was the mental side of it. It was the mind-gut connection and really supporting my nervous system, because your nervous system quite literally controls your entire digestive pathway. So when I was stuck in fight or flight, when I was really visualizing this negativity and having really negative self-talk, I was in fight or flight, and your body can't digest your food well there. Literally, your digestive enzyme production goes down, your stomach acid production can go up or down, your lower esophageal sphincter can't close well, your nervous system controls your sphincters. And your lower esophageal sphincter is that sphincter that's supposed to protect your esophagus. It's supposed to keep your stomach contents where they need to be, but when you're in fight or flight all the time, this is deprioritized. Your body's like, we might have to run from a tiger soon. So digestion's probably not that important. We're going to downregulate your digestive function. And then what further worsened that for me is that all the food anxiety, all the restriction, I was under eating. And when you don't get enough calories, your body has to prioritize calories to your brain, to your lungs, to your kidneys, like things that if you don't have, you will perish. So your body is like, okay, I'm gonna send calories here, I'm gonna send energy there, and then digestion, we can slow it down a little bit. We don't have to send as many calories to digestion because you can theoretically survive with slower digestion. So under eating worsened my reflux, and then my mindset also did because of the stress impact on reflux. And so making the shift of like, okay, I'm not gonna focus so much on food. I'm gonna focus more on my daily habits, my mindset, my nervous system. I was able to eat more because I had more of an appetite. I wasn't so stressed all the time. And I also wasn't so anxious around food. I was able to expand my diet and slowly restore diversity in my diet for my total body health, for my microbiome. And then also I was able to really heal my reflux by just getting some clarity. Like I wasn't so clouded all the time by this craziness on social media. So, I listened to my doctors, I listened to my healthcare providers, and I just took things day by day instead of catastrophizing, thinking long term. I just took it day by day and focused on taking care of me that day and prioritizing my nutrition, my nervous system, my mealtime hygiene, slowing down during meals, all of these things that we talk about on the FLORA app all the time. I actually had bandwidth now to do that. And I also believed it would help me. And I can tell you one thing, that with anything in life, if you do not believe you can do it, you will not. This goes with any challenge in life. If you don't believe in yourself, you often will not make it to that goal. You have to believe in you, and you have to believe also that you're worth the effort, you're worth the work it's gonna take, because it's not easy. And I didn't heal from GERD overnight. It probably took me, once I made this shift, maybe like 6 to 12 months. Like it was a long period of time where I was healing and sort of, up and down from when I made this decision of I'm going to heal. I visualize this for myself. I know I'm going to heal, versus to the point where I was like, eating trigger foods. It probably was about a year. So keep going in your journey. If it's taking you longer than you think, this is a part of the process. It always takes longer than we would like, but just that step of really prioritizing my mindset, I now could actually focus on the right things. I could focus on the things that were going to get me from A to B instead of being clouded and confused and anxious all the time. So if you are struggling with your reflux, GERD, LPR, digestive health, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and definitely take advantage of all of our free resources on social media. Follow on Instagram, on TikTok. Head to my website as well in the description of this podcast to check out our blog or the FLORA app, which has a 7-day risk-free trial. We'd love to support you in whatever capacity we can, whether that's just through our social medias. We'd love for you to join this community. Make sure that you do share this podcast as well with a friend who's maybe struggling with mindset or struggling with acid reflux or digestive health. I would love for them to benefit from this. Thank you again for being a part of this community. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already to the Reflux Revolution podcast to help us achieve our mission of changing the way that reflux is treated and managed in the world. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next episode.